As you get files organized and move things around in Finder, you're going to need to be aware of important information about your files. Things like how big the files are, the file types, and what applications are used to open those files. To get all of that information under control, you'll need to use a simple tool called GetInfo. So let's take a look at some of our files and see how GetInfo works. Here I am in my Documents folder, and I'm just going to select a file, and I can either go into the File menu and choose GetInfo, or I can go to the Actions menu here in the Finder window and hit GetInfo. And it opens up this information window about that file, and it tells me everything that I might want to know about this file. I see a bunch of general information. I can see what kind of file it is, how big it is. It's 700 kilobytes. I can see the full path of where this file exists on my hard drive, when it was created and last modified. Lots of valuable information like that. I can also see the file name and its size up here at the top. Now I want to look at some of these other categories here. Let's take a look at this option here for name and extension. And if it's not open, just hit the disclosure triangle next to it, and you can get this information. Now this is one place you could go to rename a file. Although I usually don't do it this way, it's kind of the long way to do it. But I could come here and I could maybe change this to say campaign. And when I hit return, that change is made and I can see that change here and also in the folder. Earlier in the course when I talked about renaming files, I said it's important that you do not rename, change, or delete this extension. And the extension is a section at the end with the period followed by 3 or 4 letters. This extension identifies what type of file this is, so I generally do not want to change that. But what if you don't want to see the extension here in the list? Well, you could come here to GetInfo and you can choose Hide Extension, and now that file is still identified as a Microsoft Word document, but it does not have the DOC extension. So that can be kind of handy. I'll go ahead and close this. Comments is where you could go to add metadata, extra information about a file. This could be a little bit of extra information that you might want to add on if you're sending files to other people and you want them to refer to something here without actually changing the contents of the document itself. There's an option here, Open With. And if I hit the disclosure triangle here, I can see that this file will open with Microsoft Word. That means if I double-click on this file, it will launch in Microsoft Word. I'm going to quit Microsoft Word. What if I want this file to open in a different application? I could go to this list, and let's say I want it to open in TextEdit. This is a list of all of the programs on my computer that are capable of opening this file. So I'm going to choose TextEdit. So now, when I double-click on this file, you can see it opens up in TextEdit. Now, that's probably not the best way to go because I lose some of my formatting here. So I'm going to quit TextEdit. I'm going to go back to the information window for that file, and I'll switch it back to Microsoft Word. Now, what if I wanted every Microsoft Word document to open inside of TextEdit? Well, I could come here and I could change this to TextEdit, and then I could hit this option here to change all. That would make it so every Microsoft Word document would open in TextEdit. I'll go ahead and hit continue, and now that rule has been set. So if I go to a completely different Microsoft Word file and double click on it, it opens in TextEdit. So that's kind of handy. I'm going to quit that. And it's probably a good idea to switch that back to Microsoft Word and change all again. Now there is another way to choose which application opens the file. I can go to any file, right-click on it, choose Open With, and I get those same options. I can choose the default, or I can choose to open it in a different application. So if I click on TextEdit here, of course it opens in TextEdit. I'll quit that. But I have not changed that as a rule. The next time I double-click on this, it will still open in the default application, which is Microsoft Word. Again, I'll quit that. But what if I always want it to open in TextEdit? I can right-click on it, go to Open With, and I'm going to hold the Option key on my keyboard, and Open With changes to Always Open With. And now if I were to go down to TextEdit and click on that, now I've set that rule, and it opens in TextEdit. And if I quit that, double-click on it again, it opens in TextEdit because I've set that rule. I'm going to go ahead and quit this. I'll go back, I'll do Open With, hold the Option key to Always Open With, and I'll set it back to Microsoft Word. And I'll quit that. Okay, so back to the Get Info window. We've seen Open With, so I'll close that. And then, of course, we get a nice preview of the file. This is sort of like Quick Look. I can just see it without opening it. And I can close that by closing this Preview disclosure triangle and open it up again. Now, we skipped over this section on tags. This is going to be very useful for searching for files, which we'll talk about in the chapter on saving and searching. So we'll just go ahead and skip that for now. So that's info on a file. I just want you to know that you can also do get info on a folder. I can even get info on a hard drive. So over here, I can go to my hard drive. I can get info on that. I'll close both of these. And I can even get info on a folder by right-clicking on its shortcut and choosing Get Info. And finally, I'm a big fan of keyboard shortcuts. So a lot of times I'll use the keyboard shortcut for Get Info. Of course, if I select the file, I go to the File menu. If I look at Get Info, I can see the keyboard shortcut is Command-I. So all I need to do is select a file, hit Command-I on my keyboard, and I get my Get Info window right there. I think you'll agree that it's pretty vital to be able to access important information about files and folders in Finder. And now you'll be able to maintain a much closer relationship with your files.